Hey, Mike Brown, what up? I mean to tell you what up. JV Smooth, what up? Big Sugar, what up? Yeah. Yesterday got smooth away from me. It was one of them days. My God, it was one of them days. Jonathan Thompson, what up? How do y'all think a Big Crit and Meg the Stallion mixtape would be? Um, uh, that that might not be bad. Way off topic, uh, JB. But to answer your question honestly, I don't know, it might not be bad. I'd be interested to hear how they'd approach it. CJ, what up? Lupe lurking in all these chats and live. Well, a conversation with me and Lupe would land a little different. Um, I don't know if you guys actually saw what I'm discussing here. Big conversation that happened. Brothers and sisters, mothers and misters, buoyants and blisses, I'd like to welcome you to the garage, home to the worldwide mechanics and lead mechanic Mick Rashawn. As always, before we get it started, hype, like, and the subs. It's how you show your boy love. Shout out to everybody chopping it up. Shout out to everybody lurking up in the top. If you could just give me a like, you don't even have to speak. Not that you have to do either, but one would be appreciated. And yeah, man, today's topic, Lupe versus Kendrick. Conversation going all over the place from this dude Koala. Um, Sugar, I saw that you said you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, I'm almost urging you not to. It's not a pleasant watch. I don't think anybody really comes off looking particularly good in this specific joint. Like, am I Koala spends the whole thing looking for gotcha moments, not really looking for answers, but he's really just trying to get a gotcha moment off on Kendrick on Lupe, and he's doing it in a way that just exposes him as a K dot super fan. And then when it doesn't loop around and translate all the way, it the conversation just turns into more of a Lupe biography. He just starts running down, and the thing is, now here's the other thing: if you listen long enough, there's gems in this. There's things to be learned. I believe in teachable situations from all sides. Um, Shout out to B74. Make sure you go subscribe to Mech and Gat Show. New clip from the Dame Dash interview about to drop. So please stay tuned. Papi Chulo, why you looking at why you worried about what another man is wearing? And not only did you think about it, you actually jumped in the chat and said it. Bro, that's man. You really like seriously in the conversation that we have and forget all that. You just want to come on and comment on what I'm wearing personally. Seriously, don't worry about it, bro. Your mama likes it. Lupe came off bad as usual. Yeah, I don't know Yeah, weirdos. We yo, Michael, we pull the weirdos in here, bro. There's something about positive energy that they just can't stand. Dead ass. That I'm not even trying to be on some high and mighty. There is something about being positive and not being messy that certain people, it just irritates their soul, bro. It irritates their demons. Anyway, um, first 10 minutes, first 30 seconds. We ain't even been on 10 minutes yet. Yeah, that was like the first. That was ridiculous. Um, Rosenberg Roy didn't take what Lupe said as a compliment. I didn't see that. Like the sage, yeah, I see. Man, 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 man. I cast you out. These funky ass demons in here. I cast you out. Get on out of here. Get your dumb asses out of here. Asking me all kinds of stupid questions. People, please check the subject matter and go from there. That way, sugar's not getting you out the paint. I need y'all to like really look at what we're discussing and go from there, as opposed to looking to monopolize the conversation and turn it into like some randomness. I definitely have no problem answering a couple of questions, but some of y'all be getting super random for no reason. We're discussing something very specific, and we give it some time. We'll get into a different part of the conversation. But like, bro, Josh, are you listening at all? Just fuck what I'm saying. Just are you listening at all? No, this is not a do rag. Like, it's not a do. Let me just keep waving this. Like, let me just go on ahead. Just let's flush them all down. Let's let's get them all out. Like, yo, let's get them all out of here. Like, dude, CJ, if you're paying attention, you saw several. There's a couple going already. Like, mm. Y'all dumbass. These dumbass questions, man. Like, come on, I'm trying to discuss something specifically. Like, come on, man. Cut the room some slack. Listen, Lupe versus Kendrick. If anybody saw the conversation, for sure chime in. If anybody didn't, just kind of wing it with me, because it Lupe's entire this all stems from Lupe saying the quiet part out loud, is that he believes there are hundreds of rappers better than Kendrick. Before you come after my head, let me just tell you that while I understand the sentiment, where he's coming from, it's phrased wrong, and without context, it just sounds like straight hate, right? Hit the like instead of asking dumb shit. Shout out to Big Sugar. Thank you. Lupe does this every 6 months to a year. We only have to. It's the only time we discuss him. I saw it, but not the whole 3 hours. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It doesn't last 3 hours. It lasts 3 hours, but Lupe checks out somewhere after like an hour and or like close to 2 hours. He gets out of the paint. It's. I'm not mad at y'all for if you checked out, if you couldn't watch the whole thing. It's exhausting. It's not an easy watch. Lupe tends to drone on. It's obvious that it gets a little personal between the fellas. And like I said, Koala keeps going after these gotcha moments, doing silly shit, saying silly shit, trying to make a point, yelling, barking. Just it looked like a lot of. It was so much trolling and clout shit on both sides. On like both of them, just the crux of it is Lupe's whole thing is, there are hundreds of MCs better than Kendrick, but then he goes on to tell you all the ways that Kendrick is better than him. Um, Koala was definitely trolling. Yeah, and let me just say for the record, I don't subscribe to trolling. I never have. I'm not sure I ever. I'm not sure I ever will. Shout out to Say What Again, Mother. $5 super chat. What up, Mac? Lyrically, they both nice. Lupe is entitled to his opinion, even if it's a little crazy. I low-key think he wanted Dance with Dot in a battle. Yeah, yeah. I think he would welcome it. I'm not sure if he believes he would win because public perception is a big part of a battle. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, shout out to Push Button Producer. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Lupe gets a square 16 with him, and they go back and forth, and Lupe smokes him, like smokes him. First of all, Kendrick fans tend to the more extreme ones because I really dig Kendrick's music, but Kendrick has a supreme, he has an extreme sect of fans, um, where he can't do anything wrong, and there's nobody better. There's never been anybody better, and he's the end all be all. It's the same extreme that Drake sides have, the Drake the Maddies have, and they'll get at you. They'll get at you. I can attest to that. I can attest to that personally. I mentioned something Kendrick did that I disagreed with, and I heard about it for like a month. Just they swore that I hated Kendrick, like swore that I hated Kendrick. No research, no nothing. Never looked at any opinion I ever gave. Never mind the fact that I was adamant about the fact that Dot smoked Drake in that battle, and that Dot has always been one of my favorite artists. But the when it comes to being an extreme fan, critical thinking and objective reasoning goes out of the window. You lose both of those things when you become that guy. So Kendrick, Lupe saying that, listen, there are hundreds of MCs better. His reasoning is when it comes to battle rap, they're much more creative because they have to be. They're much more intricate because they have to be. Their imaginations go way further because they need to. They in order to survive in that environment, you have to be a very specifically skilled sect of MC to get in that world and not only like survive but like to thrive. Your imagination needs to be next level, and that stuff doesn't translate out always. That skill set doesn't always translate out to beats, radio records, the style of music that you need to make in order to entertain the masses. It's why battle rap may be worldwide, but it's not commercial. It's not commercialized. It's not for the masses. It's really one of the original, like, battle rap, the style of rap that they use in battle rap. It's one of those forms of emceeing that is still for the initiated. It's like the part of the neighborhood that hasn't been gentrified yet, and every other part has been. But this is like the one part of emceeing that has not been gentrified at all. It's still like completely untouched and pure culture. Um, yeah, it just is. With that said, Lupe's POV is that the lowest to mid tier battle rapper is better than is a not better, keyword, and this is where words start to mean things, is more skilled, is a better MC, is more skilled at the art of writing rhymes than like the top tiered commercial MC. almost the nearest comparison I can make is basically saying how the mid tier and one guys are better than more skilled. I got to keep saying more skilled and not better, because better is subjective. Better becomes personal. Better becomes, a preference. Better at what exactly? And when we're talking about the ability to sell music to the masses, we're not just talking about how good your pen is, because if pure talent was all it took, a lot of MCs who don't get the commercial nod would be millionaires if that's all it really took. Dudes like Mickey Fax, dudes like in the battle rap world would be, multi-millionaire, multi-platinum selling artists if skill was really what it was all about. But it's not. There's a lot of different things that go into selling music commercially. Your music has to be digestible to the masses, and battle rap is not. Battle rap is one of those forms that's still for the initiated. Your brain has to work a certain way for you to digest what they're doing over there. Not just digest it, keep up, appreciate it. There's references to obscure movies, comic books, it goes all across pop culture, references left, right, and center. There's guns. There's again movie characters, comic book characters, characters in books, video games. And if you go a little bit too far, they won't get it. But if you go a little bit too, then it's just plain ordinary. Like, your brain's got to work a certain way. And Lupe's thing is, those MCs are more skilled than Kendrick is for the most part. Now, here's where it's like a catch-22. Number one, most MCs will not tell you that there is an MC better than them. It's just impossible. I've heard plenty of people who I've listened to who would tell me that they were better than me, and they absolutely were not. But they would never admit it, so I didn't even have an argument. I didn't even bother having that discussion. Um, Most MCs will tell you that there's no one better than them. Most. Um, So he's not when Lupe says that, he's not gonna find a lot of people who are gonna be like, no, Kendrick's better than me. He's not gonna find it. But then he qualifies it by telling you all the things that Kendrick does better than him. And some of them, a good chunk of that list, is what it takes to sell music commercially. $10 super chat from Say What Again Mother. Okay, let's check boxes. Lupe versus Dot. Who's better in these categories? Rapping, skilled, better debut album, better production, picker, better prime, and better discography overall. Say What Again? This is where lists like this. First of all, let me salute. Thank you for supporting the room. Lists like this are where we have to start breaking it down, and I'm gonna walk you through this. Um, who's better in these categories? Rapping. I believe, I believe there's nothing Lupe can do that Kendrick can't, and vice versa. And I believe it starts getting down to a matter of taste. Which style of this thing do you prefer? I think they're both lyricists at an elite level. I think when it comes to the flows, cadences, I think they can do whatever they want. And that's when it starts getting a little shaky. When we're just talking about straight rapping, pen to pad, I think they pull pretty much even. One has a tendency to do certain things more than the other one. And then it just becomes a matter of preference, right? Better debut album. That doesn't fall on the individual. A debut album doesn't fall strictly on the individual. It doesn't fall strictly on Kendrick, doesn't fall strictly on Lupe, and that's the problem. So you can't really give either one of them full credit for a better debut album. Debut has to do with who had a budget, who had access to certain beats, who had access to a better marketing team, a marketing plan, who was able to get out in front of more people. when you start talking about album, you're now talking about a bunch of factors that the artist doesn't have complete control over. We assume that artists go in there, pick all their own beats, do all their own things. Lupe had, a certain group of people with him. Kendrick had a certain group of people with him. But when you look at Top Dog, when you look at TDE, and you look at the talent they pick, think about the marketing that goes behind that. You got also have to think about the era. So better becomes who had the better album, that better debut album. That becomes a matter of preference again. We're right back to preference because there's so many factors in there that don't. There's so many factors in there that don't really fall under the direct control of the artist. Better production. That's one of them. That's one of them. Unless these dudes are making their own beats, who had access to better production? Who picked better beats? As an A&R, I can tell you, I've come across tons of MCs who do not pick great beats for their voices, for their flows, for the level of breath control they have. This beat is not it for you. This beats the voice you have. Unless we do some surgery on the boards, this beat is going to overpower you. This ain't a good look. Like, you need this kind of production in which you would sound better over this kind of beat. And a lot of MCs don't know that. I have producers I go to ask them, what do you think? Here's the difference between me and them. I know to ask the question. I know where I'm deficient. And thankfully, I have thank God I have resources. I have a phone that's pretty extensive of people who I trust, who know what to listen for, who I can go to and be like, yo, how did I do on this? What do you think? It's not the same. Better production picker. Same thing. That's again, who had the better A&R? Who you think it's rappers give you the impression, artists give you the impression that they're sitting there listening to tons and tons of beats and they're just going through everything, and they're deciding this is the beat that's gonna make this album cohesive. This is the beat that's gonna pull these other three songs together and attach the production. Or I found one guy who's amazing, and I'm just gonna rock with him for a full album. Like I got access to Pete Rock, and he's just gonna do my whole album, or Primo, and he's just gonna do my whole album, or Hit Boy, and he's just gonna do my whole album. And 9 times out of 10, it don't rock like that. So better prime and better discography. I prime is a matter when you a better prime in itself is a matter of, again, marketing, budget, and push. Most artists, the Lupe, we definitely did not see all the way through. His prime time was cut, or we don't even know if he actually hit his prime because the label stepped in, demanded he sign a 360. He opted not to, and they stopped funding his shit. So now we have to sit there and, the impact of his album is going to be affected by that action, by the label's lack of participation. And Kendrick is still writing. They're both still writing. Lupe told us several times on that talk that he just stopped from a sold out tour. He's taking a break after one sold out tour to go back out on the road. Prime is bottom line. Prime is something that Prime, that kind of talk is something I really reserve for athletes. I don't really reserve that for MCs. I don't. Your brain is up here. Like, I don't think you start thinking slower. You may move slower, you may react a little slower, but those are physical things. I don't really better discography. Same thing. Same thing. We start talking preference when you talk better discography. And for that to happen, if we're discussing preference, it's all objective. It all goes out the window. And then better discography also entails that we have to start talking about production, A&R, mark, like the A&R, the producer, a bunch of things that the MC himself does not have direct control over. So it lands different. And say what again? I'm not even mad. These are great questions to ask. And this is the gray. These are like the gray areas, the little smudgy spots in the conversation that a lot of people overlook and don't take into account when we start having these kind of talks about who's better. It really starts cooking down to who had more access to more resources, or who do you personally like better. And you can't really, no one can really argue with the second one. If I tell you I like lasagna more than I like meatloaf, are you really going to argue with me over that, or are you just going to accept it? Oh, he's a lasagna guy, and that's all there is to it. You see what I'm saying? It's really. And Sugar hits the nail on the head. Sugar, you get the first pin drop. My notorious pin, given to me by Biggie's daughter at her store, her clothing store debut, Notorious Clothing. B74 gets the first drop. We also have to remember that we're having these conversations with a group of people. Some people do not have good taste in music. Some people have really shitty taste. And we forget that every time. That just goes out the window. We completely forget that we're all in the same space and there was no test for those folks to get in here. It's like this room. It's just like this room. I don't have a bouncer at the door that can keep you from getting in here. I have a bouncer inside of the club who can throw you out once you expose yourself as an idiot. But I don't have somebody at the door who's giving people a test that stops them before they get here. It's that simple. We're all on the same internet. We're all on the same social media. We're all riding the same lightning, and we're all having the same conversations. And some people from, the short bus manage to get in with the honor students. We're all mixed in. And then there's the C plus students, the B students, and there's the genius kid. We're all in the same room, all trying to make sense of it with each other. So when you start, when we start having these talks, it's like some of y'all got bad taste. Case in point, one of Koala's first attacks, and I'm going to call it an attack, one of his first attacks at Lupe was that you're overcomplicating your sound and you're messing it up for your audience. My argument would be my audience gets what I'm talking about. My audience understands me perfectly. You not understanding my bar sounds like a you problem. I'm overcomp. No, I'm speaking at my audience's comprehension level. The fact that you don't get it has nothing to do with what I'm doing or what they dig. And for you to say everybody thinks that no, that's hyperbole. That's completely inaccurate. Can't be everybody because I got sold out tours. You can't keep up. So just say you can't keep up with just off the strength of Big Sugar. You can't keep up with what I'm saying. You're the motherfucker exposing yourself to be on this short yellow bus. Stop getting mad and claiming that my fans don't like what I'm doing because you can't keep up with what I'm saying. My lyrics are going over your head, not my crowd. My crowd gets it. You can't freaking get it. You're on the slow yellow bus, not us. You are. That was for Big Sugar. That was all. That was all for Big Sugar. And she. That was all for Big Sugar. But that was one that right there. Me personally, me in Lupe's shoes, I would have got so hung up on that part of the conversation right there. Did you really just tell me that my fans, like the fans, don't like it? And you rapping too complicated and you overcomplicate it? Would you? Well, bro, you can't keep up. Just tell me you can't keep up. Just tell me it doesn't make sense to you. Tell me it doesn't make sense to you. But for you to try to make my crowd feel stupid, they all get it. They're not even in this room. They don't want to have this discussion. They all get it. They understand every metaphor. They break it down. Their brains work like this. I'm literally talking to that class. You've wandered into the wrong class and you're mad at what's on the board. And because it doesn't make sense, all of a sudden it's stupid to you. My conversation with Koala would have stopped right there. Everybody thinks that. No, they don't. You do. You don't speak for everybody. You speak for you. And when they say stuff like, I ain't never been in a car, and somebody said, yeah, that's the car you're in. That's your car. That's the car you got into with your friends who came to pick you up. That's your circle. No one else's. You don't speak for our circle. And I gotta tell you, that analogy, that saying, that phrase has always irritated me in a different kind of way just because of that. I ain't never been in a car and somebody said, "Dude, I don't care about whose car you've been in," and they've never asked to play music that may be intellectually beyond you. Car full of dumbasses driving at the same time, all going to the exact same place, entertained by the same shit. And maybe the person in that car who is entertained by my shit, he just needs a ride. He just needs a ride. He just needs a lift. He ain't gonna say nothing about what he's gonna listen to as soon as he gets home. He just needs a lift. As soon as he gets out the car, he's probably sitting in the car right now with his earbuds in, not listening to any of the dumb shit y'all was saying. He just needs a lift. He may not even like y'all that much, or you're just his that every group's got that one friend. Y'all all think he's the weird one, and he's looking at y'all like they're the dumb ones. I love them. I grew up with them. They're my people, but they dumb as a box of rocks. They never get this stuff that I'm listening to. You know why? Because that guy in the back seat has realized that all tastes aren't created equal. Some people just have bad. Good people can have bad taste. He's got great friends and they got bad taste. Resource room, yeah, yeah, pretty much. And remember what I said yesterday. Hating is a low IQ activity. So it does not surprise me that people who don't get Lupe, who don't get Kendrick, have the most vitriol against those artists, who they have the most energy, negative energy towards those artists. And they got so much gusto about it. Hating is a low IQ activity. I'm telling y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm telling y'all. Look at the people who come in here with something to say about me or something to say about us in general. Look at the people who come in here popping off that my in room security guard has to then escort out. Look at those people. Look at the insults. These are low IQ insults. They don't have anything to do with any. Look at the awareness, the ability to read the room. They don't even check the topic before they start talking. They start asking all kinds of dumb questions in an attempt to insult or undermine what we're doing. Hitting is a low IQ activity, so it never surprises me when artists who show any kind of intelligence get attacked, and they get it the most. And it never surprises me that the artists that appeal to that crowd, their fans are the most their fans are the most like feral and attack everything else moving. And then you have people who just, I think the Kendrick Lamar super fan, the Maddie version of the Kendrick Lamar fan, I think those are the guys who have been pushed around their entire lives for being any kind of intelligent, any kind of articulate, any kind of anything outside of basic. I think they've been pushed around a lot, and now they're just pushing back excessively. Like, you're doing too much now. Now you've become what you can't stand. I think that's what that is. But that, both sides have capacity for that kind of nonsense. Oh, hold on, mixed swag. I'm missing. I hope I'm not missing too many of those. $2 super chat from Mixed Swagger 4K. Salute to you, King. Thank you for supporting the channel. They say people are whack to justify not understanding. That absolute fact. Absolute fact. There's nothing quite like the deflection from somebody who does not want to just fess up to the fact that they don't get it. There's nothing quite like it. There's nothing quite like it. Those people are adamant that this thing is whack, which is lightweight. What Koala was pushing yesterday. You rap too complicated, or you. And Lupe has a song called "Dumb It Down." He's telling you that he's not on that. If you're dumb, I'm not here. Well, not even dumb, but if this doesn't, I don't like to call people dumb. I try not to do that. I say something more along the lines of, this doesn't appeal to you. If this is not entertaining to you, then just let it go. But like Mick said, I think a lot of people who don't grasp what's happening, instead of just saying, this ain't for me, I'm gonna go where I'm entertained, they feel a need to downplay and denigrate this thing. I'm gonna call this thing whack because I don't get it. I feel the same way about MCs or rappers. Actually, when rappers come after MCs, 9 times out of 10, when they sit there and tell you, lyricist is broke and they don't make no money. That though the people who like to undercut lyrics are people who don't have any, or they do have them and they've been dumbing down, and they need to keep that trend going because it's way easier to write this simple shit than it is to write the stuff that their brain calls for them to do, their heart calls for them to do. And they've drank the Kool-Aid that you can't be a lyricist and be successful. And then they turn around and see people like Cole and Kendrick and Drake and Flashes and all the other guys out there who are actually doing it and actually very successful, more successful than they are, and they feel some kind of way. Listen, when you got the shit like spin that shit, which I don't relate to trading, we should not be surprised. Bamboo, ego and insecurity show up in many places. Bro, and let me tell you, something my father said. A lot of people are running their careers with ego. Running their whole situations with ego. And my pops would say, ego don't run nothing but a mug. Fastest way to end up in the ditch is let ego drive. I'm gonna drop the pin for pop. Ego don't run nothing but a mug. Or ignorant, just dismiss it and call everything backpack. Jamie Martinez, you are 100. You are also 100% right. It's nasty. It's nasty. And as I'm watching Lupe go back and forth arguing with Koala, and this is not an insult to Koala, but it becomes super obvious that one of these guys is a teacher and the other guy is a reactor. Lupe told Koala to keep the same energy as he does on his lives. That's exactly what he did. Lupe knew what he was getting into. He did the same thing when he hijacked the Roundtable's live stream. Yeah, Lupe doesn't come up, and this is not because I'm not shooting bail at any. I'm just giving you my observation at the entire thing. Lupe doesn't come across very good at this. I don't know a lot of people who want to hang out with their teachers, and Lupe has a issue turning it off, and he tends to start. It goes beyond teaching, and it becomes a lecture. And that's not again he and Lupe walked into this. Candace, you're exactly right. He walked in there. Lupe is pompous, absolute worst aspect of being. Yeah. Like it's not the cool teacher. Again, it's more of a lecturer. B74, thank you. Pin drop for pops. Everybody who's up there lurking, do me a favor, hit the like just one time. Hit the like if you're watching and you dig what's happening. Just go and hit the like for me real quick. Hit the like, hit the sub. Feel free to subscribe. But this is how we get down in this room. So if you like what's happening, definitely subscribe, pull up, become a mechanic. Come rock with us because it's only gonna get crazier. Um, yeah, and I'm see. Here's the other thing. I don't watch Koala's show. right? So I can't be. Oh, and yes, subscribe to the new show, the Mech and Gat Show, brand new channel. We are World Stars official podcast. Episode with Dame Dash about to drop. We were just having that conversation this morning. Um, didn't catch all the details of the convo, but Lupe is in my top 5. Yeah, it's none of what we're discussing removes either one of these gentlemen out of where they are. And here's an idiot. Hating is a low IQ activity. And it never takes long for us to find a low IQ person to come in here and demonstrate the point. Case in point. Thank you, Vieten, whatever your name. Thank you so much for helping me demonstrate that point. I appreciate you in ways you do not understand. For you come, if I start saying, I wonder if I can show you guys what an idiot looks like, and then an idiot shows up and waves his hands and hey, look at me. I thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Indy subbed in. Bill Reed, thank you. Welcome to the Mechanics. Much appreciated. Thank you for being here. Only koala I rock with is the sample app. Push you. You're problematic. But let me, Jay Carrington, $5 super chat. Salute to you. Thank you for supporting the room. By the way, any support that comes through this room gets reinvested back into this channel. New equipment, new mics, new everything across the board is on the way. Laptop has to happen. I'm going to retire my girl and get a proper setup for you guys. So just know anything you put in here is coming back. So if you start seeing me rocking diamonds, and well, I have diamonds, but if you start seeing me rocking like a bunch of jewelry and rings and all that stuff, then stop. I've been compromised. If you see me in jewelry, I have been compromised. Get out of here. Just run away. Anything more than what I'm rocking right now, like my stones and like I got diamond earrings because that's my birthstone, but like anything over that, and I have black diamond earrings, which I thought was super cool. And I may just for one time, I might get my logo on a chain. And even saying that, it feels a little cringy, but I can't sit here and tell you that I may not do it, or I might get it. If, somebody might give me one. Hang around Busta Rhymes, you get cool with a bunch of jewelers. You never know what's going to happen. I may have that, but please understand, if you see me in a bunch of jewelry, just know that I have been compromised and leave me completely. I am not the guy who you started rocking with. That guy's gone, and I have no idea who replaced him. I've been cloned. It's not the same guy. Everything that I get from this channel gets reinvested back into this channel. So this channel is going to support itself, and that happens off the strength of you guys and super chats like Jay Carrington. So let me read. Lupe is right. So many lesser known MCs, past and present, will wash these famous rappers. Jean Grey, anyone. Shout out to Jean Grey, my homegirl, who I only have one photo with, and I was doing this when we took the picture, and like my finger is like right over her nose. It like my hand covers up like a good chunk of her face, and it's so stupid. And she's people, and when you with your people, you don't take pictures with your people. You take a couple when y'all are out somewhere, but if y'all are just backstage and kicking in, ain't nobody pulling out their phone to take pictures of each other or pictures with each other. Y'all might take one group shot and that's it. And like, plus, me and Jean Grey go back before Instagram. I think MySpace might have been the thing when I last when me and Jean were like active. So yes, lesser known MCs. I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with talent. If talent was the only indicator, hear me out, people. If talent was the only indicator, these lesser known MCs would not be lesser known. It has nothing to do with talent. It really does not. Talent is like the last thing. B74. When you see me in Miami, we we fucking up a phone. Like we just gonna flick. We fucking up a phone. That's not even a question. We fucking up a phone. Killer Mike. That Killer Mike swept the Grammys, but the Grammys just now are starting to value artistic merit. That's what Mike sweeping the Grammys tells me. Because that was such an artistically beautiful fucking beautifully executed album. The fact that he swept, come on, man. The AMAs, I expect it to be about money. Who spent the most money, you get an award at the end of the night. If your company spent the most money, you get the award. The American Music Awards, the pop charts. The Grammys were supposed to be about art, and somewhere along the lines, they got away from that. But Mike winning tells me that the folks who are there now, Common and Pete Rock got nominated. That tells me that because Common is one of those MCs who, if talent was the indicator of sales, if talent equaled sales straight off the rip, Common would be Drake. Dead ass. Talib, Common. Very rarely do we see a combination of talent that hits the ceiling, that just flies through the roof when it comes to fame and popularity and sales. It doesn't happen very often, especially as we've begun to modernize the practice. When I say modernize, I mean streaming. Because now it's not just, and the labels will always find a way to manipulate the revenue sources. Always, always, always. But if you ran down the list of artists that Nas just got his first Grammy with the Nas just got his first Grammy, bro. Jimi Hendrix doesn't have a Grammy. Like, you see what I'm saying? There are a bunch of dudes who it has nothing to do with talent. If and I again looping back around, I think that's what Lupe is trying to point out. Like, there are a lot of indicators, there are a lot of factors that have to be mentioned when you start talking about comparisons. And Lupe, very smart man, Lupe kept all of his comparisons strictly to writing, strictly to the pen. And then he proceeded to tell you how Kendrick was better than him, but then he named thing in that mix, he named a bunch of factors that don't have anything to do directly with or that the MC isn't solely in control of. He named it, better team, better he writes better, makes better albums, and certain things come with guy. But don't get me wrong, after a certain amount of time, artists begin to know what they're good at and they start writing records. You don't need as much guidance. You don't need as much guidance. Conscious music always gets pushed back. That's a fact. That's a fact. Kendrick is an anomaly. He shouldn't be multi-platinum, if that makes. Yeah, but there's always a couple. You know what I mean? He's not as much of an anomaly as you would think. There's always been a couple. Like Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, excuse me, but Rakim comes from an era where intelligence was a thing. Where being intelligent was where even the dudes in the streets thrived thrived to be intelligent. That was the ambition. They didn't want to be dumb. I'm quite familiar with that era. I understood what it was to not want to be the dumb person in the room, and ignorance wasn't something that was just exalted. It's always been a little sexy, but it. Nobody wanted to be dumb. Nobody wanted to be dumb. There's always been nerds. There's always been bullies. There's always been people who are insecure and intimidated by intelligence, or intimidated at any show of intelligence that they think is beyond them. Those people who say, you think you smart, you think you know everything. That's intimidation talking. If they never said I know everything and you said that about them, that's intimidating. That you just told on yourself. You're intimidated. And now you're gonna try and figure out a way to make them feel as bad as you do for being who they are and saying what they say because they've read books and remembered some stuff. Never sexy to be unintelligent. That's for us, B. Like ignorance being sexy will never sound right to me. Intelligence is sexy. Okay, let's test that theory. And I'm not. You said sound right to me, CJ. You got it. B74, exact same thing. You got it. Completely understand it. Let me tell you by let me break down what I mean by sexy. By sexy, I mean attractive, right? Attracts. Two people fighting in the street, two people dapping in the street. Which one of those two things do you think attracts more eyes? See what I mean? See what I mean? Which one of those two things do you think somebody's going to pull out their phone and take a video of to show more people and get more clicks because it's going to attract more? See what I mean? See what I mean? One is sexier than the other. It just is. It just is. You can look at the careers of podcasters, reactionary people, media heads out now. Look at the ones who thrive. Look what they're talking about. You can see it. You can see it. It's not my it's I was about to say it's not my theory, but it's not even a theory anymore. It just is. True, but Lupe has that smartest guy in the room syndrome. He's a nigga who just has to tell you how smart he is instead of being smart. It's a problem. Yes. Yes, I can see that, Michael. Lupe has a he has a almost his reflex is to condescend. And that's what I think is unattractive about what he's doing. I think that's what turns a lot of people off from him. His reflex is that now it doesn't make here's the other problem. It doesn't make him wrong, and it doesn't make him a liar. A lot of what he was saying when I watched that koala thing, he was like, "Okay, what are your credentials that I should listen to you?" And there's not a lot of cool ways to say arrogance is not a flex. Shout out to Big Sugar, you got it. Lupe didn't compromise his intelligence, though. No, he didn't. But there aren't a lot of chill ways to say you're not qualified to tell me what to do. You're not qualified to give me advice. You haven't done enough in any section of this business to tell me what to do. To pass to tell me what I should and shouldn't be doing. And it irritates me that you try. You're not the one that I should listen to. So why are you fucking talking to me? I get it. I get it. I get it. But it again, like you said, it doesn't come across cool. When you start lecturing people as opposed to just doing it, you start lecturing people. But Lupe gets pulled into these conversations where it's almost like he has to explain to you why what you said about him isn't true. And I said something a little while ago on one of these lives. When Lupe is going out to explain to certain people why this isn't true, his approach is the only thing that you can find fault with. Unfortunately, if the conversation gets loud enough, you're gonna have to address it when you're in the business of selling music, when you're in the entertainment business, because your image is a factor. The way you come across to people, the way it's a factor. Some people put more emphasis on that than the actual talent behind it. Hence the hate that comes in here and asks me why I'm wearing this on my head or asks me about my beard or shit like that. It's a factor. His approach is what turns people off. But the fact that he has to address it, that becomes a thing. But Lupe is pulled into conversations with people who aren't really that qualified to tell him. Like this one guy, Koala is telling him, you should dumb down your music. Basically, your music is. He doesn't even say you should dumb it down. He just says you rapping too complicated. Nobody can understand it. You rapping too complicated. That accusation alone should have let Lupe know what kind of room he's in, and then alter your approach. Can read the room and alter your approach, but he doesn't. He has the same. He has basically the same approach every time he goes into one of these spaces, and he doesn't come across well. But here's the other part, bro. I think he knows that. He actually said, "No, I'm gonna come across looking bad. I'm gonna look bad when this is all said. I'm gonna look bad. Like you're gonna look better in this thing than I will. I'm gonna look bad." Wild, right? Bless up. What up? I think he's that way because he was ran out of the industry for a lot of the speak truth to power type vibes that all the new artists are being praised for. Yeah, I mean, and he actually stood on business. Like, he could have signed that 360. Had I known then what I know now, and I was in contact with Lupe, I would have given him a way to sign a 360 where he wouldn't have needed to leave. But one thing that labels are good for, they find loopholes. They find loopholes. They know how to build a better mousetrap. So they would have came back around with something eventually, and now you got to think your way out of that one too. It's like that because their goal isn't to make art. Their goal is to make money. Once you understand that, their goal isn't to further culture. Their goal is to further their bottom line. And once you walk in there understanding that, you make adjustments for everything else under the sun. Um, Michael Brown, if they aren't qualified, why does Lupe care so much? Because there's a lot of them. Because there's a lot of them. Because there's way more underqualified people having these conversations than there are qualified ones. The qualified ones don't have these kind of conversations. Not like this. Not like this. The qualified folks are busy, doing the things that they're qualified to do. They're not even they're rarely having these conversations at this level. Like pointing fingers and telling Lupe what he should be writing and what he shouldn't write, or people telling Kendrick Lamar I sounds like science class. I can't get into like qualified people rarely like those folks are rarely have, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. There's that party, that club is way bigger than the other club. Way bigger. Way bigger. And when that talk starts getting too loud, you gotta unfortunately your image is a thing. You gotta address it. And let's not get it twisted, Mike. At the end of the day, Lupe is a Chicago nigga. They are not a scared people. Those folk are not known to run from conflict. He is a Chicago nigga, a multiple black belt martial artist, and he's from Chicago. That's not the kind of guy who's gonna run the other way from the smoke. He may walk, he may walk the other way. He's not running. And if it gets too smoky, he's probably gonna stop and turn around. But here's something I said that getting back to the thing, Michael. I'll tell you how I deal with it. And I said this on a live a little while ago. I don't I've never needed the respect of people that I don't have any respect for. And that goes for a lot of unqualified folks. Like if you jump out here for respect, put some respect on my name. Stop disrespecting my work. Stop disrespecting my art. Stop disrespecting my pen. Right? But you want respect for your pen from people who can't write cursive. Nah. Nah. I don't need to respect the people who can't tell time on a traditional clock. Sorry. Sorry. No, it's fine. Everything's fine. You go right ahead and believe exactly what you want to believe about me. And that attitude may cost me. That may cost me. That may cost me. I've had people come through the chat who couldn't stand me on my expert opinion because I spoke with any level of confidence on the topics that we were speaking on. Mecca think he know everything. Mecca think he never wrong. Bro, because I'm speaking with confidence, you have an issue with that. And I don't need your respect. If you don't like confidence, if you're mad that I'm making a point or that I won't just fold up in the face of, celebrities and people that we're talking to. I don't want to quote celebrities, but like, people that we're talking to who have reputations, who have names. If you think I'm just supposed to fold up in the face of those people, but I acquiesce all the time. Like, I never thought about it like that. Oh, I know, I see what you're saying. No, you're right. But when I was right, I'm not gonna say I'm wrong. That's stupid. And not to mention the fact that while I may not be a multiple black belt from Chicago, I am a, mixed martial artist from South Jamaica, Queens. I'm not exactly of the breed to run from shit either. I'll walk. I'm also smart enough to know that not every fight is worth having. They're just not. They're just not. Fighting for the respect of people who aren't respectable, that not really my thing. I'm not really into that. Not really into that. Never have been. Can't see that changing anytime. At this big age, sir. Muay Thai, um, Kempo, Judo, and traditional boxing. My hands hurt just talking about that. Dudes telling me I think I know it all because I know a lot of shit. B-74. Yeah, it's stupid. It's really dumb. But again, remember, we're all in the same room here. The special ed kids are now they're here with us. And they don't have the mental grace to just chill out and let everything be. If they're intimidated, when you're intimidated by something, bro, when I was intimidated by anyone, when I would get intimidated by something, I was quiet. I didn't say anything loud to get pull him down a peg and start, like, shitting on them. I didn't do that. That wasn't my way. I was just quiet. Like, Jesus Christ, wow. I was quiet. Just got quiet. I didn't talk funny towards them. I didn't undercut them. I didn't say little slick comments. I didn't look to insult them. I didn't look to make them look worse so I could look better. That's character. That's character. That's high IQ and that's character. That's IQ and that's character. I don't even know if that's IQ. It's just character. It's just not what you do. But hating is a low IQ activity. It's why this room rocks the way it does. And it's why those rooms do what they do. And it's why I have a bouncer inside of the room to handle that, because I don't get to give somebody a test and make sure that they can come in here. Just not a thing. Plus, it requires a lot more energy than love. Yeah, yeah, Tyrell, absolutely, absolutely. Low IQ, you'll see it. You'll see it from here on out, moving forward. Shout out to all the mechanics. Shout out to everybody who's in the room. When you pull back up, just look at the people who feel a need to come down and say something super stupid. Just all off topic. Doesn't have anything to do with what we're discussing. Rude, obnoxious, monopolizing the convo. No social awareness whatsoever. It's a low IQ activity. I promise. I promise you. It's low IQ. It's a low IQ activity. See? See? Very happy tadpole. Your father didn't hug you enough as a child, and now you're in here looking for attention. Low IQ activity. It's like every time I say it, every time I point that out, one of them comes through here to demonstrate it. That's how dumb they are. They actually show you what I'm talking about. It's like I called their name. Oh wait, I'm on. Like right then, right then. You can't make this up. My hands are right here. You guys can see my hands. I'm not giving anybody a signal to jump in here. You cannot make this stuff up. You start talking about it, they pull up. I promise I'm not making you. You cannot make this up. There was a time in the culture where your ability determined your position. No call outs needed. Hopefully, we bring that back. Brooklyn, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. We definitely. I don't need attention. I prefer interaction, and to make the business thrive, I need retention. Different from attention. Not so much, but definitely. Attention is something you get by doing something outlandish one time and then it fades. Retention is when people pull back around because they rock with you. I have a room full of people that rock with me. Yeah, they need the attention. You're right. You're right. It's almost you can when they come in here saying dumb shit, you telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself. You're absolutely right. You say, y'all got any of that attention? That's what you look like to me. That's what you look like to me. And why would I want the respect of people that like that? Why would I want your respect? When you're doing anything with no integrity, no dignity, no self-respect, you're just doing anything for attention. Why how could I respect that? And why would I? I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. And that's my only thing with Lupe. Like Lupe, I understand exactly what he's doing. I think his approach is off. Like we've said in here, like a lot of times it's he comes across like he's lecturing, and that's a bad approach. That's but I've also noticed that when people are dead set on hating you, there is no good approach. There's nothing you can say that they're gonna be all right with. There's no approach you can have that's gonna work for them. You're condescending, arrogant. When you cross that line, confidence looks like arrogance. God forbid you're confident. You too arrogant. You need to humble yourself. You too arrogant. How? Because you act like you know everything. How do I do that exactly? And the more questions you ask, the more their whole thing falls apart. What's the conclusion? Lupe better lyricist than Kendrick? No, I don't think Lupe is better than Kendrick. I don't think Lupe is better than Kendrick. I don't think Kendrick's better than Lupe though either, unless we're talking about making certain kinds of music. I think he has the edge on Lupe there. But even that goes, I don't think Kendrick does anything that Lupe can't do. So no, but 100% he's not better. He's not better than Kendrick. My personal. he's not better than Kendrick. But I don't know one thing that the other one does that the other one can't do. I think when it comes down to them, you just start getting into preferences. Hunt, did I hurt your feelings? Show me on the doll where somebody touched you. And again, thank you for demonstrating. See, we got another one. Straight up and down demonstrating. Bro, low IQ activity. Low IQ. If you're looking for one, Bamboo, just look up. Just look up. You got to get a job acting like you got seven. Bro, you got to get off my dick. Why are you here? You're only helping me get closer to the number you don't want me to have. And now you're gone. And you're probably still watching. Bro, you. And I talked about the bouncer I have in the room. I told you there was one. I told you this was going to happen. My hands have been in plain sight the whole time. I told you this was going to happen. And here you can't make this up, people. It doesn't. Anyway, Fro Wonders, bar for bar, I'm gonna say Lupe, but song for song, I could give it to K Dot. And that's completely fair. Bro, that is completely fair. That makes all the sense in the world. And I think Lupe would agree with you. I think Lupe would agree with you. I think if Lupe saw that down, he would agree with you. I think Lupe would agree with you. What's a good Lupe verse? What's a bad Lupe verse? Put the onus back. What's a bad Lupe verse? Find me a bad one. And then tell me how it's bad. Be very specific. Explain to me how it's bad. What's a bad Lupe verse? And then tell me how it's bad. Great Lupe song. The cool. Put you on game like that. But when someone is asking you that question, it's not saying you specifically. I won't call you out. You don't like Lupe. You think he's underrated, overrated, which tells me you don't appreciate what you've heard or you're not digging what you've heard. So asking me to give you a verse that's a good one when you already don't appreciate it, that's almost a bad faith question. You already don't like what he does. So me telling you a good verse when I like what he does means we're never gonna see eye to eye. See how that question kind of eats itself when you fold it back on itself, and then when you tell me a bad verse that he did, and I tell you that's actually a great record or a great song, not the best lyricist compared to who? Who do you like? We'll go right there. Let's start there. Who do you like? Yo, tell me who you like. Black Thought, King Los. Yo, bro, King Los is like okay, all right, and you don't like Lupe. He went from he's overrated to he's decent. See how you just I think his personality turns you off more than his work does. I think him as a person makes you not like him as an artist. Tell me I'm lying. Yo, my no, I'm asking. Tell me I'm lying. Nah, maybe I need to listen to it more. Okay, all right, come on, bro. But you was 10 toes down on that opinion 2 seconds ago, and now you get challenged on it, and you got to listen to it more, bro. Just open. It's okay to say his personality puts you off on his music. It's okay to say that. Totally okay to say that. I can't blow it up, but I will tell you there are artists who were some of my favorites. Right? I met him in person. Can't stand it. Can't stand that shit no more. Met him in person. Completely washed everything out of here. It's a thing. It's a thing. It happens, and it's cool if that's your thing. If you've heard him speak and that turns you off from his music, and now you're not a fan because you don't like him. I've said time and time again, in this life, people only rock with the people that they like. The people in this room, they rock with me because it's me. Something about me appeals to them. They rock with it because it's me. I'm not saying I don't think I'm doing anything so far out of the ordinary or so differently amazing. I'm talking on YouTube. But people rock with the people that they like. I've seen people defend Nas when he made a subpar record because that's their man. That's their dude. Same thing with Jay. I've seen people defend Jay when he undercuts certain movements. They still gonna rock with him. That's their guy. It's a thing. And if Lupe is having the opposite effect on you because it's Lupe, that's also a thing, and that's completely legitimate, bro. You can air that out here. It's safe space. I'm not even here to judge. You ain't on trial. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, mothers and misters, bunions and blisters, I'd like to thank you for pulling up to the garage, home to the worldwide mechanics. I am your lead mechanic, Mac Rashawn. We're going to shut this down for the evening so you can enjoy the rest of yours. Go and get your coveralls, get your tool belt. Let's get this thing off the rack and see where we at. Likes, hypes, and subs is the way to show your boy love. Shout out to B74. Shout out to Slade for the jewels. Thank you for pulling up. I will be here tomorrow at 5 p.m. going live. Check out the Mech and Gat Show, World Stars official podcast. We are officially outside. And yeah, thank y'all for pulling up. I will see y'all here tomorrow at 5 p.m. Do me a favor, hit that little alarm bell so you know when I'm pulling up. As always, God bless. Be safe out here. The garage is now officially closed for the evening. Everybody be safe. Peace.